My name is Mike Sauschuck. I'm a commander with the Portland Police Department. What that means is that I'm in charge of all of our uniform assets, so all of our patrol division, traffic unit, Homeland Security, Peaks Island, and all of our community policing initiatives. So in Portland, we've got about 164 or so sworn personnel. Let me give you a little background about why we're here and how this whole thing got started. MCing might be a little strong for today's event, but thank you very much for having us over. Kevin, thank you very much. Craig, thank you very much. It's so special to have the opportunity to come over here and talk to everybody. It's a good opportunity for us to continue to meet. One of our goals for this project was to get out, meet the public, say hello, and kind of draw that correlation between this poetry, this artistic project, and police work itself. And quite frankly, if we have the opportunity to compete against that federal agency that wears mirrored shades at all times, day and night, in the Irish trip where everybody wants to go to Ireland and learn, then we'll take that opportunity and run with it all day long. So for the Poetry Project, 2 years ago, we had a really rough year where we lost 3 members of our family, our Portland Police Department family. One of them was a civilian employee of 30 plus years, Mary McLaren, who was married to Bill McLaren of the Criminal Justice Program here at SMCC, and who has been to Ireland more times than you can shake a stick at. And that was a huge loss for us. We also lost a Sergeant, Rob Johnsey, from the police department, who died of an accidental gunshot wound in his own home in front of his family. And that was a very, very tragic event for all of us, because hopefully you hear it in every one of your criminal justice classes about how law enforcement is a family. It's a family atmosphere. Your PDs are family. Your smaller teams are family. Your partners are family. And that's the way we deal with law enforcement. That's the way we address issues in our communities. And to lose one of them was very, very, very tragic for us. And that set of circumstances would just, absolutely blow your mind. To an extent that in the state of Maine, we had about 700 or so police officers that attended that particular funeral. So that's how close-knit of a community that we have. Well, in one of the eulogies for Rob, his best friend talks about Rob and how he liked poetry. And we talked about that connection between poetry and police work. Trust me, when the project came to us, we said exactly the same thing. I don't see the connection. You got to be crazy. We don't want to get involved with this. It's too personal of a thing to stand up in front of somebody and talk and read a poem that you wrote. But Marty, being Marty, who we look at as our poetry drill instructor, she points us in the right direction and helps us move along. She picked up on that immediately as part of an artistic program that she was trying to really get up and running. And we knew Marty. We knew her very well. We were on a low level. Some people were writing some funny poems, more bathroom door poetry than anything else. So she said, geez, that's a great idea. Let's see if we can get involved with that and try and get a program up and running. So we spoke to 10 different officers throughout the PD that were interested in poetry and photography. This is definitely a dual project. And we had everybody that volunteered to take part. And we wrote a bunch of poems last year. And nobody really knew what we were getting involved with. We were trying to, one, from a police perspective, support the family economically. This is a fundraiser for us. As well as get the word out about Rob's life, the kind of person he was, the fact that he liked poetry, and do that direct connection to the public. The we versus them and us versus them, all that stuff is exactly right on. For the way everybody deals with these issues on a regular basis. So we wrote a bunch of poems, and obviously this is this year's calendar, but we were all shocked when it came back because it had a very professional appearance. And when we got a chance to read them, we weren't just a bunch of knuckle-dragging SWAT cops running around, and if it's black tactical gear and Velcro, we're loving it. People could actually put pen to paper, and they had some really impressive work that came out of that. So we were very, very, very happy with that. And we got a chance to meet some great people, our civilian poetry partners, and really the program kind of ran off from there. Now, from all of our standpoint, we were kind of looking forward to doing additional calendars down the road, but for maybe charitable occasions like our youth services program, like the PAL program. But we ended up losing another one of our sergeants of a heart attack at the age of 54. Really a young man by all accounts. A very, very good friend of all of ours, a mentor, a leader, A father of two passed away in his home again at about 3 o'clock in the morning. One of those individuals that had walked down the hallway had a force, a nature about him. You knew when he was in the building. You knew when he was at a crime scene. He was definitely a true leader and somebody I definitely counted as a good friend of mine. And we were right back to that situation again. Well, so much for the youth services program. We're going to try and go back in and raise some money for his kids. And we dove back into this kind of work. So that's why we're here. That's where this calendar and this program stems from. So I ask you to bear with us, and we're going to go ahead and read some of these poems off. I'm very proud of everybody that's here, both sworn and non-sworn, all our civilian partners, Marty, for all the work that you've done. And I'm going to go ahead and read off a couple of these poems, and then I'm just going to ask everybody else to come up, and they'll be reading theirs as well. So I've got a couple of them here. And the good thing about being up here is that Marty asked me to read a couple different ones, and I'm going to change it and read one that I actually want to read. And then I'll deal with her wrath later. But I haven't got a chance to read this one yet, so I'm going to do it anyway. As we say in law enforcement, I just right here. So I'm going to do whatever I want to do. So I'm going to read Another Brother, which is directly about Rick Betters. The shrill of the phone and the words, "He's dead." My heart rips. Simple words, questions automatic. Who, what, where, when, and the impossible why. Again. Crushed, I try to remember how to talk. The room's a black hole. 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out. I combat breathe just like Rick taught. Mary stirs. 8 months ago, she heard the same questions. Another brother lost. Can we do this again? My voice cracks like our first date. We hold hands. His life, his wife, his kids. Not again. Sadness first, then stories, or stories first? We each make our own call. Rick could build self-esteem or houses, but his true calling was staffing the SUV of compassion, opening that passenger door to any troubled soul in need of advice or a steady hand. Rick steered his crew with pride like a father, an uncle, or a brother. Now outside the auditorium, we shake our heads and whisper, never again. Another brother.